right information is all we need as investors because it diverts us into the right perspectives. The organization on the top of this money chain will make the most out of it.
A deep expert, but it's the companies at the top of the food chain that tend to make the most.
So in the new financial order and new monetary system, being early and accumulating and holding strong enables to build enormous wealth.
So we have an idea for you that's going to do two key things. One, it's going to capitalize on one of the biggest trends that's impacting financial services today. And second, it's going to make all of you in the room a lot of money, right? So
now that's what we are talking about. Now you saw the presentation, right? It's showing Internet of Value here. Back in around 6 seconds, we can see the presentation in the background. It's Internet of Value. That's the slogan of Ripple, the company. And we all know that that's the direction we are all traveling to. So being early makes us wise, but that also points us that we are early, we need to wait and we need to be patient. And it's you and me as speculators, investors, play a role in building this disruptive technology. And it's early in its ecosystem, we are making the volume for them to do their business.
And people say, well, don't you think that the speculative volume that's being created is harmful? And at some level, yes. I mean, it's very risky. We don't want people to go and spend their life savings. But it's sort of in making a market in a currency like this, it's a necessary first step. You need to get, you need to prime the pump and get volume started.
So personally, to those of you who have concreted their viewpoints about holding for many years to come, in the scientific investor's opinion, the reward will be enormous. In one way or the other, we, the speculators and the investors, started pumping the volume so that it ignites $1 trillion markets. And igniting such a market is kind of, let us wait for huge rewards. So awaiting huge reward is not a nonsense for me. I believe the scientific investor family is on the same page here with me. Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. This is a recent interview which I saw, and this particular interview gives us a lot of breadcrumbs. Like say he states 350 financial institutions. So that's kind of, before this announcement, they're stating that 50 new institutions, kind of non-disclosure agreements are kind of going away. So that's kind of how I think. So by swell 2020, we can expect much more announcement. Say if just in an interview they are dropping 50 in financial institutions as breadcrumbs, then it should be much more during the announcement itself. Now then in the interview, Naveen Gupta, he actually talked about $27 trillion moving around and $1.6 trillion in fees for that. So even if they disrupt and provide efficiency for their clients and from there to the customers, say 50% reduction in fee. So say still it's 0.8 trillion per year as fees. And again, now think 50% of that or 40% of that or even 20% of that becomes fee as a burn rate in the XRP ledger. Once the XRP ledger becomes the universal base for the settlement layer, because that is going to be huge. The burn rate will reduce. Now this has two sides. Burn rate will it's charging fees, but it reduces the supply, and it is at the same time increasing the demand. So automatically it's like pushing both the pedals, so the price should be much higher. And when we go much more in the same interview, he actually also says that the GBP to Philippine peso, it's kind of live now. So if you actually listen when they talk about regulated exchanges, now it's through Mexico, Philippines, Japan, UAE. They talk about Britain. They talk about all the different corridors, as we know, like US to Mexico. Now it's going to be live from pound to Philippine peso. So it's actually building up, and one day it's actually going to explode. And when I say an explosion is coming, recharge your batteries and listen carefully.
Is here to solve. We are not here to make small changes to the existing technology, but we are here to make a dent in the universe.
So it's clear they are also not actually looking at a small change. Huge change in the entire monetary system is actually coming. Now, this video is not directly related to this, but it kind of indirectly gives all the viewpoints which we have to understand what's happening as of now. I'll just play a couple of seconds from that.
I think the pandemic is a great cover for a financial system reset and shutting down the global economy. They could have not gotten a better cover.
So it's kind of, believe it or not, still in every aspects. Now this is actually from Silver Bullion. They're talking about silver, gold and other safe haven assets, but still the perspective is clear. Financial system is traveling towards a reset. And as we look at other connections of Ripple, say this one is of PolySign. And when we look at the guys who are working on this, as highlighted here by Andrews, it is for sure that it's not gonna be small. If you remember in an interview, David Schwartz actually stated this. I actually want to state this. It is so damn cool, but the regulations or his agreements won't actually let him announce that, state it in public. The non-disclosure agreements and other stuff. But if you look at this highlighted here, late organization of 25,000 people responsible for custodying 25% of global institutional assets. And what are we looking through here in the PolySign? Wow, that's actually going to be huge because it will be in connection with Codius. Now the Mikey here is actually highlighting that. Actually, Codius hosts will likely be verifying payments with ILP stream. Wow, because ILP is gonna be the base of new financial system in one way or the other, because it is the new way of value being transmitted. Say internet of communication, it goes in small packets. In the same way, internet of value, it will be micro payments or even nano payments. It can actually happen. But this area here, PolySign, it's not a random company as he suggests. It's gonna be the huge one because it directly has the backing from Ripple, the company. You can see CTO of Ripple Labs is there, and he's also the code designer of XRP Ledger, right? Taking a second, stepping back and understanding the connection between PolySign, Codius, Ripple and ILP, it is kind of clear that we are all moving in this direction. It's gonna be huge because here Real XRP boy is actually tweeting Joe Smo's tweet. Joe Smo, I think I pronounced it wrong. I'm sorry. Anyway, moving ahead, the global reserve currency point of view, and when he actually states global stablecoin, keep in mind the stablecoin, the term, they use it differently. If we are looking at the market cap, say Tether and others, and saying, oh, the stable coin, it's not going to go anyway, $1 is the maximum. No. You understood it in the wrong way. We here in the Scientific Investor channel explained it with government documents, right? Stable coin, they are using that term to state that the price will be comparatively stable. The movement or the fluctuation compared to other assets will be different. So say if other assets can actually appreciate 100% a day, this will be taking 5 days, a week or a month to go there. But think, if something is actually grinding 2-3% a day towards next 1 or 2 years, that's going to be massive, right? If it's doing that every day. Instead, if you are getting only 1 or 2 pumps, like 10 or 20% in a month or a year, that's not beneficial. But those kind of volatility is kind of taken back, or we can say suppressed as of now, because until we are entering into a new monetary system, that will be suppressed. But once that switch is turned on, or flip the switch thing, it won't be working directly in that manner. Instead, they will flip the switch towards the new monetary system, where it will all turn slowly. It will take time, but it will turn slowly, because now we have the escrowed amount of XRP and they have a hell lot of liabilities. Central banks are looking at central bank digital currencies. Wow, and they need something to base the money on. If you're with me on the same page on this, after listening to this one here, And looking at all the different aspects and reaching here, it will be kind of clear, right? As Real XRP Boys Tweed and Stuart pointed out, it's gonna be a change in the entire system. And how they're actually using it, as per this channel, it actually states the current pandemic is being used for that. And to an extent we can understand, yes, it is. And the central bank digital currencies here is being represented as, now this is from Forbes, right? The tweet is from Digital Autonomous Conductor, but the article is actually from Forbes, and it is actually showing you or pointing you towards the same direction, a crisis recovery tool for governments. Why? Because if they are going to base this on an intelligent protocol, then they will be able to actually take out the dormant funds, trillions of dollars. Say if they have $27 trillion, that's per McKinsey report, right? They can actually take back at least say half of that is actually huge. Say for example, Fed has been printing money and it's now $7 trillion. That's for the huge economy in the world, US. Now if you look back at China, they're also doing the same. Now rest of the world, the economies are actually considerably low. So if they are able to take out 1 trillion, 2 trillion, that's going to be huge for them. Even $500 billion from the dormant funds are going to be huge, because we saw in UK banks are actually taking out money from dormant savings account. It's actually going to the government now. So your money is not even safe in your account. They're taking that money. So once they understand that this is not enough for them, they need more, they'll actually go for the nostro vostro shit, because the reconciliation is a huge pain in the ass for them. Now if you actually go to XRP Arcade, you can actually see the entire interview here. And this one you get it all. Now yes, it's a bit long, but still it gives you a hell lot of information. Now if you don't want to go through all of that, here in XRP Arcade he has actually listed most of the summary here. But still, if you play at least 20-30% of the video, it gives you much more information when Naveen is actually talking. So now we are actually leaning towards central bank digital currencies. So that leads us to a new system, right? This is based on the remittance market, but the entire system change will affect every single transaction. Now in the previous video, we discussed about the transaction, meaning the payments has two sides. One is the payment message itself, and then the settlement, or taking out the obligation for that particular payment, right? Now if they can actually make that in a single way, like internet of value and internet of information moving together, and kind of say in CEO Brad's words, it's like a chatty protocol, right? You're sending message, you are receiving that, it's confirmed, it's done. So that is kind of the change which is transforming the entire remittance market. So as the new regulations are picking in US, they have clearly stated that July 21, 2020 should not be there after this, right? Meaning the customer, if he's going to send money abroad, then he should be able to know how much it will be received in the destination account. Currently it goes through correspondent banks, and they all take out kind of say their fees, and according to the World Bank itself, it's 7%. So say you are sending $200 and they take out $14 from that. Whoa, that is actually really bad. That is really bad, because if you're actually sending $100, they are taking $7. If you're sending like say $1,000, they are taking $70. That is really bad, because an additional $70 for US individuals who are listening to this will say it's okay, it's just $70. But if you're sending say $100 to a developing nation, say just take an example, India, at least 10 days of food, grocery and everything in that country, you can actually use that $100. That $100 will take, if it's a below average family, that $100 will help them to feed their entire family for a month. So that is going to be a huge difference in all the developing nations. And you can ask why that is important. And my answer is what is being stated by the IMF. It's clear that majority of the economies are going to end smaller this time. And after this particular crisis, the debts are being projected, we just talked, right? 7 trillion is being pumped like that. And that creates unemployment, that creates inflation, and it is moving towards more inequality. Rich and poor is now like 99% and 1%. The rich is having almost everything. Why? Because majority lack the financial education, or they don't actually give proper financial education to everyone because they want a great reset. Now, why? Because now, say for example, they have 90% of the entire wealth, the rich, they are aiming for 99%, and it's gonna be happening in the same way. Now, yes, and at the same time, we can say those who are in crypto, if you consider the total population of the world and who are holding XRP and other kind of these assets, say XLM, XRDC and all, it's not even 1%, say 0.1%, 0.01%. It's so small in numbers. So they don't actually care about these number of individuals becoming millionaires or billionaires, because they are not talking about millionaires or billionaires now. After the reset, these guys will be trillionaires or quadrillionaires. It's kind of crazy when we talk about it now, but it's gonna happen after this reset. If you actually need more information, you can actually come into Twitter. If you are in Twitter, XRP_Danny, that's me here, that's XRP Danny 1. And if you can go through my feed, I kind of try to include all of those items which I talk here, and along with that you also get more information, which some of them I don't actually use in the videos, but I feel like it is useful for you to connect all these dots which we are talking here. If you have any doubts, you can actually go through and find my old videos too. Now, it's not only directly about XRP, but indirectly you can use this information to connect the dots and get that viewpoint which you actually need to be accumulating and waiting for that profit. If you like the content, do hit that like button and the subscribe button along with the bell notification icon.